Hey, what's up, guys? This is David Chase Taylor of 911truther.org. Today is November 5th, 2024. So, based on breaking news and events, it appears the CIA headquarters located beneath CERN at Lake Geneva in Switzerland is going to execute the so-called Kamala Harris Manifesto in the aftermath of a Kamala Harris win in the U.S. presidential election on November 5th, 2024. In other words, the CIA is going to stage a Kamala Harris victory over Donald J. Trump. They're going to rig it. They're going to fix it. So before any of the ballots or all the ballots are counted, before the absentee ballots are counted, before the overseas ballots are counted, they're going to claim that Kamala Harris has defeated Donald J. Trump on November 5th. Or shortly thereafter, specifically to execute the following Kamala Harris Manifesto, which includes a capital coup targeting Washington, D.C., domestic terror attacks, race war terror attacks, nuclear war with Iran, a stock market crash, a Joe Biden dissolution of presidency event, the arrest of her political rival, Donald J. Trump, gun control and or secession of U.S. states in the aftermath of her win. So essentially what the United States, what the CIA is planning to do is to balkanize the United States in the aftermath of a civil war, which is all predicated on Kamala Harris winning the presidency. Aside from the fact that she's a DEI candidate who cannot conduct a simple interview, she's hardly qualified, barely got 2% in her own Democratic primary. The CIA is going to stage her glorious victory over Donald J. Trump, specifically to execute, to trigger a civil war in the United States, to balkanize the United States. So to give you some context here, Kamala Harris has only been the official DNC, Democratic National Committee, nominee for 92 days, while Donald J. Trump has been running a nonstop presidential campaign for 9 years and 4 months. In the 2016, 2020, and 2024 U.S. presidential campaigns. Regardless, the CIA plans to stage a victory over Trump because they've been trying to remove him from power since day one, essentially with the 2 impeachments, with the 34 felony count indictment, with the 2 assassination attempts, and then now we're going to have the second stolen election, and this is specifically designed to trigger a civil war in the United States. This is why if you go to the theaters right now, there's a movie entitled Civil War about a domestic terror attack targeting the president. So Kamala Harris is not going to be voted in legally, and before Donald Trump can exercise his legal options in respect to this election, if it's in fact stolen from him, which is what the plan is, they're going to execute one or more of the following Kamala Manifesto points. So firstly, this Kamala Harris Manifesto will likely go into effect tonight, November 5th, 2024, when the news media reports and the legacy media starts claiming that Kamala Harris is winning or has won the U.S. presidential election. And so what they want to do is they want to stage a convergence of special forces. These are going to be the Wagner Group from Russia, the Azov Battalion from Ukraine, and IDF soldiers from Israel are going to invade Washington, D.C. under the guise of a pro-Trump backed militia type revenge attack. So although it could happen on Guy Fawkes Day, which is today, November 5th, 2024, and if you'll recall, Guy Fawkes, he's the one that had the gunpowder plot beneath the Capitol building, and so this is evidently what they're planning, kind of in this script of V for Vendetta, the Natalie Portman film. That being said, it could happen tomorrow, the 6th of November, which is exactly 46 months since the CIA staged the first false flag attack targeting the Capitol back on January 6, 2021. This, of course, features Biden's numerology of 46. He would likely die in the attack. The next day is November 7th, which is the date of the Bolshevik Revolution of 1917. So this is going to be Russian-backed, likely Ukrainian troops targeting the Capitol. There's also the possibility of them staging it on Kristallnacht, which is anniversary, which is the 9th of November, and also the number 911. Then we have on the 11th of November, we have Veterans Day, so this is going to be a coup executed under the guise of a veteran-backed attack. And then, of course, we have Thanksgiving on the 28th. So those are the most likely dates of an attack, but it could come at any point after this election. And all of these events or plots, which I'm going to highlight, this every single point in this Kamala Harris manifesto is going to happen before she is sworn in as the 47th president on January 20th, 2025. But it will likely happen sooner because they plan on assassinating Joseph R. Biden, which I'm going to get into in a second. Secondly, the reason the CIA is going to stage a Kamala Harris victory is so that they can stage a never-ending wave of domestic terror attacks, likely featuring 9/11 style attacks, chemical, biological, radiological, or nuclear-related attacks, mass shootings, political assassinations, truck bombings, etc. Because the CIA is trying to start a hot civil war in the United States so they can greenlight the Terminator drone program. So this election is going to appear rigged on its face, specifically to enrage the U.S. populace, and then the CIA is going to import foreign troops to commit terror attacks in the United States as pretext for a civil war. They're also going to stage race war attacks. Race war blood sacrifices likely targeting African Americans, possibly those who supported Kamala Harris, and other minorities in the United States, likely targeting noted academic, activists, actors, actresses, artists, athletes, authors, celebrities, mayors, governors, politicians, producers, rappers, singers, and/or television personalities. Including but not limited to acid attacks, arson attacks, bombing, chemical attacks, cross burnings, crucifixions, draggings, drive-by shootings, firebombings, gasoline-based immolation attacks, grenade attacks, graffiti attacks, kidnapping and/or hostage crises, improvised explosive device attacks, hangings or lynchings, mail or package bombings, mass shootings, mass stabbings, Molotov cocktail attacks, pipe bombings, pyrocides, quarterings, ramming attacks, sniper attacks, storming attacks, suicide bombings, and/or vehicle-borne improvised explosive devices attacks, i.e. car bombings, trucks bombings, etc. Nuclear war with Iran. So the reason why the CIA is staging the election victory of Kamala Harris is because they have already greenlit a war with Iran. Kamala Harris is married to Doug Emhoff, who is a Zionist Jew, and they have already greenlit the war with Iran. And most recently, there's been an escalation, a tit for tat going back and forth, and everything is set. They already have everything set up for this war. They're just waiting for Kamala Harris to win. And the reason why she's going to win in a quote-unquote landslide, most likely, is so that she can have what they call a mandate, a presidential mandate. So that's like what Barack Obama had, what George Bush had. Is so when a lot of people vote for them, they say they chose them and they believe in them. So the key here is that the war has already started, but they're going to escalate it to a biological, chemical, or nuclear level in order to trigger World War III. And most recently, we had the Israeli assassination of Hezbollah chairman Yahya Sinwar in the Gaza Strip, Palestine, back on October 16th. 15 days prior, on October 1st, you had Iranian ballistic missile attack targeting Israel. On September 27th of 24, we had Israeli airstrike assassination of Hezbollah Secretary General Hassan Nasrallah in Lebanon. And then on April 13th of 24, we had Iranian ballistic missile, cruise missile, and suicide drone attack targeting Israel. And then, of course, on October 7th, we had Iran-backed Hamas-based attack targeting Israel, Lebanon, Palestine, and Syria. And of course, this attack is also the notion, I should say, that the attack is already planned is back on August 5th of 2022. The CIA executed Operation Breaking Dawn, which featured the deployment or the activation of 25,000 Israeli IDF soldiers back slated to attack and invade Iran. And then, of course, we had the assassination of Qasem Soleimani at the Baghdad International Airport back on January 3rd of 2020, which was the onset, or I should say the beginning of this tit-for-tat back and forth. So mark my words, the war with Iran has already been, the deal has already been done. That's why they have to neutralize Trump, which I'm going to get into in a minute. That's why Trump cannot be president, is because they've already greenlit this war, and this war is going to be nuclear in nature, and then all hell is going to break loose. Once Kamala Harris comes into office, it's highly likely that the CIA is going to stage possibly a Chinese attack or invasion of Taiwan, an Iranian attack or invasion of Israel, and or a Russian attack and invasion of Finland, Germany, Ukraine, or Poland. And that's why, because back on February 19th of 2022, Kamala Harris told Putin at a NATO conference or a summit not to invade Ukraine, and 5 days later he did. And this is because Kamala Harris is a female, she's a black female, and so they want America to appear weak, and so that, you know, that's why Trump is always saying, if I was president, Putin wouldn't have invaded Ukraine, and Iran would have never attacked Israel on October 7th, etc. So with a female in there, then they can stage these attacks and invasions around the world because the United States looks weak. Once Kamala Harris becomes president, I should say confidence in America will dwindle almost immediately. You're going to see a stock market crash of unprecedented, likely Black Tuesday or Black Friday proportions, which will trigger bank runs, looting, riots, martial law, deployment of the U.S. National Guard, and likely taking America into a deep depression. Number 7 is a Joseph R. Biden dissolution of presidency event. Because the war with Iran is on the table, they can't wait till January 20th till Kamala Harris becomes president. So they have to get rid of Joseph Biden prior, so that Kamala Harris can appear as a commander-in-chief, and that they can use her as a puppet to execute this war, which predictably, as I said, will be nuclear in nature. Consequently, it's highly likely that Biden would have the 25th Amendment invoked on him. He would die in some accident, assassination, a crash, possibly car, helicopter, limo, or plane in nature. He would suffer a medical event, die of old age, suffer a 4th COVID-19 infection, and possibly they could suicide him under the guise of this ongoing investigation into the Biden family. But mark my words, after Kamala Harris wins, Joe Biden will no longer be president. Or I should say that Joe Biden will die so that Kamala Harris, or resign so that Kamala Harris can become president prior to January 20th of 2025 because of this war with Iran. Once Kamala Harris becomes president, she will order the Department of Justice to arrest Donald J. Trump. Of course, he will not be arrested and taken into jail and stand trial. He will be killed, likely in the raid or under the guise of suicide assassination once he is incarcerated. And so this is, again, because Donald J. Trump, upon this fraudulent election on November 5th, he is going to exercise all legal options, because there is no way in hell that Kamala Harris will win this presidency. Absolutely no way, if it's fair. So it's not going to be fair, which is specifically why the CIA stole the election the first time, and they've been trying to execute all of these things which I'm talking about for the last 4 years, and that's why I know they're planning it. And so they're going to do it this time, and prior to Kamala Harris being sworn in. Number 9 is gun control. So once Kamala Harris comes in office, they're going to execute false flag assassination, mass shooting events, likely through Eric Holder, the former, I believe he was secretary, I forget what he was, Eric Holder. He was, I believe he was the Attorney General during the Clinton administration. And him and Barack Obama are part of Fast and Furious, which is staging all these mass shooting attacks in the United States. So once Kamala Harris is in there or wins, they're going to issue Kamala Harris or White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention based emergency orders and or executive orders banning or restricting possession, possession or sale of ammunition, assault rifles, and or firearms in the United States as pretext for civil war. And this is why Tim Walz is going hunting in publicity stunts, can't even handle the gun. This is why Kamala Harris said that she has a gun and she's going to shoot you if you come through her door, because they plan on shooting people and taking their guns, and they're going to start a civil war in the United States. And I should also mention that once Kamala Harris wins the election on November 5th or November 6th, whenever they declare the official election, you're going to see secession of U.S. states from the Union. So this is going to be Texas, Arizona, Georgia, possibly Florida. And this is specifically designed to break up the contiguous U.S. 48 states as pretext for foreign attacks and invasions. So essentially, once Kamala Harris gets in there, everything's going to go nosedive, basically, because a Trump presidency would see an instant correction on the global stage. Trump has vowed to end the war in Ukraine and the war in Israel before he's even elected president, so things would stabilize. The stock market, Trump being a business guy, would boom. Investment in America would boom, and that cannot be allowed to happen. So the CIA, what I call Swiss interference into the U.S. presidential election, will take a nobody, a no-name like Kamala Harris, and then have her win the election in a fraudulent manner. Last but not least, I should mention that in the event that when the CIA stages the fraudulent victory of Kamala Harris on November 5th or in the days after, they're going to assassinate Donald J. Trump under the guise of a self-inflicted suicide, likely under the guise of shame or what have you. And there's also the possibility that they would do suicide Trump family members such as Barron Trump, Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, Ivanka Trump, Kai Trump, Laura Trump, Melania Trump, Tiffany Trump, and or Trump's political allies and supporters, including but not limited to Alina Habba, Andrew Tate, Ben Carson, Brett Favre, Brittany Mahomes, Colby Covington, Curtis Jackson, i.e. 50 Cent, Dana White, Danica Patrick, Elon Musk, Jake Paul, Joe Rogan, Jorge Masvidal, Kanye West, Kelsey Grammer, Kid Rock, Lil Wayne, Megyn Kelly, Mike Tyson, Nick Bosa, Phil McGraw, Robert F. Kennedy, Sage Steele, Sean Strickland, Tucker Carlson, and or Tulsi Gabbard. So just to recap, the CIA is planning on executing what I call the Kamala Harris Manifesto as pretext for civil war in the United States by January 20th of 2025. And this would include, but is not limited to, a coup d'etat targeting Washington, D.C., domestic terror attacks, race war terror attacks, nuclear war with Iran, stock market crash as pretext for a depression in the United States, a Joe Biden dissolution of presidency event, the arrest of her political rival, Donald J. Trump, the implementation of gun control, and the secession of U.S. states. So in the event that any of the aforementioned events transpire in reality, I kindly ask that you download this video and share it with local, state, and federal law enforcement, military, and intelligence officials, as well as with local, national, and international media outlets. Peace.